assure you that we're following CDC guidelines for this meeting, and that's why you see all the tape around. And if you're standing and you see a seat that is untaped, please feel free, wherever it is, to sit down. We're going to begin our Pledge of Allegiance, led by our Mayor Pro Tem Wapner, and our invocation will be led by Pastor Benjamin Barlow, First Christian Church of Ontario. Pastor, if you could come on up, and as soon as he's finished, you're up.
Please join me in our pledge strike rate flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Holy God, on behalf of all who are gathered here today, thank you. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. We pray for this assembled council. Grant all those in positions that establish order a wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our time. Grant us a sense of welfare and true needs of our people. We pray for the personal peace and protection over the lives of this council, and that all will have tremendous joy in their tasks. Spirit of the living God, rest your hand on the agenda set before this council today. Give assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around our beloved city of Ontario. It's in your most blessed name we all pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Both of you. So, at this time, I'll call on our city attorney to give a report on our closed session.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This evening, the council met in closed session to consider the three items that are listed on the closed session agenda. The first was a piece of anticipated litigation with no reportable action. Second was a case called City of Ontario versus Hogue Brothers. Again, no reportable action. And finally, real property negotiations for the property at 4015 East B Street with direction to the city's negotiator with no reportable action. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. So, we're going to move into our public comments portion of the meeting. Anyone wishing to speak during public comment or on a particular item will be required to fill out a blue slip. Your comments are limited to 3 minutes. You'll hear our city clerk will say 1 minute remaining and 10 seconds. If you're not winding it up, I'm going to raise my hand and get going. We have a long meeting tonight, so we're going to stick to the 3 minutes. In accordance with state law, remarks during public comment are to be limited to subjects within council's jurisdiction. Remarks on other agenda items will be limited to those items. And no remarks from the people in the audience during this time. So I have blue cards, and we'll begin with Gina Hedden. Helton, that says 2 T's. Gina Helton.
Hello, Mayor, council members, and members of the community. My name is Gina Helton. I am here tonight to express my concern for the safety of our children and community. In my lifetime, I've been a strong advocate for children's rights and for people who have experienced traumatic incidents. I'm here today to continue advocating for our most vulnerable community members, our little blessings we like to call children. Mayor, since you have been in office for a little over a decade, you've preached about transparencies in and out of your congregation. Unfortunately, in this public arena, transparencies seem to be non-existent. Mr. Mayor, within the past year, you've removed qualified candidates from positions and appointed new candidates with questionable past involvements. I want to share something very personal. My daughter was a victim of sexual molestation at the age of 4. I don't need to go into details because we all understand what that means. I consider myself to be an active parent and involved in my child's education and health to the fullest. As a parent who has been on numerous boards, I had to agree to a live scan and a background check in order to volunteer on or off campus in leadership roles that work with children and parents of all ages. I had a thorough background check and was asked a variety of questions, as if I've ever had sex with a minor, if I ever had issues with CPS, or if I ever had adult activities outside of my home. These are just a few examples of the processes and questions I had to agree to. Mind you, this was all for a position leadership which involved community at all ages. This was all volunteer work to serve my community. This is where concerns arise for me. The same safety rigorous background check is not applied here in the city, where people get paid to serve the community. You have people that represent our beautiful city of Ontario with some very questionable behaviors. These people interact with our community either daily, weekly, or on a regular basis. These people fail to realize that their questionable acts reflect on our city as a whole. Our city hosts a variety of events that involve children. Parents should feel safe that their children are entrusted to be around upstanding people.
1 minute remaining.
The goal for Ontario should be keeping its community safe and healthy with transparency. Thank you, everyone that is here today.
Excuse me. We're not allowed to comment on these comments. They're made by the people who are here, have a right to say what they want to say. On the other hand, we do not have the ability, because of the Brown Act, to respond. And at this time anyway. So just understand, if you're out there wondering why there's no response, it's because we can't. Love to, but we can't. Not now, but you just wait. Okay, so anyway, our next speaker is Selena Lopez.
Buenas tardes
Good
a
afternoon
todo el concilio y el señor mayor.
to every council member and the mayor.
Mi nombre es Selena López y soy una residente.
Can I ask, Mr. City Attorney, we know Selena very well, and she speaks English perfectly well. I don't know what is the theater in all of this going on right now.
I think it's my right to speak whatever language I choose
Well,
to, right?
I'm just making sure.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, so the purpose of public comment is for members of the public to address the city council on issues of importance to the city council.
Mhm.
So the audience, Ms. Lopez, all due respect, is the city council. If you have the ability to communicate with them in English, I would respectfully request that you do that.
I'm bilingual and there's audiences that are listening in Spanish and I would like to use my right to speak Spanish.
Absolutely understand that. Again, under the Brown Act, the audience for public comment is the city council as the legislative body.
So
It's,
you saying
it's,
I can't speak Spanish?
I'm saying that the mayor has requested for you to speak English, and the law supports that request.
This is incredible.
Well, I'm just saying that you speak English.
I understand that,
All right,
but
let me tell you something, Selena. For the everybody who is here, to be very fair to you and your request, let's go ahead and do it your way. But honestly, it's unnecessary. But go ahead. As he said, the audience is us. So let's go ahead.
it's you and
Let's go
everybody
ahead.
that's watching.
Let's go ahead.
So do I get my 3 minutes back?
Yeah, you get your
Mr.
3 minutes
Mayor.
back.
I apologize for interrupting you. So the use of an interpreter requires the city council to allow 6 minutes worth of testimony, just so you know. You have 3 minutes and then the interpreter has 3 minutes.
Gracias. Muchas gracias. ¿Empezamos de nuevo? Sí. Gracias. Para todo el concilio y la audiencia que está mirando ahora, mi nombre es Selena López, soy residente de Ontario por 43 años, toda mi vida.
Good afternoon to the mayor and council and all the members of the public here today. I've been a member of the Ontario community for 43 years.
También soy comunitaria vocera y trabajo con nuestra comunidad para varias ocasiones donde ellos sienten que no tienen una voz en nuestra ciudad.
I'm also a community spokesperson and I work with our community to give them a voice on the issues that they feel like they do not have a voice.
Ahora estoy aquí al frente de ustedes por la razón de la transparencia o falta de transparencia que está habiendo en nuestra ciudad.
Now I'm here to talk to you about the lack of transparency in our city.
La junta antepasada del concilio, yo estaba enferma y quería ser participante de una agenda en nuestra junta, pero cuando metí al web, noté que no había la habilidad de meter mi comentario público.
During the previous council meeting, I wasn't able to attend, and I noticed when I looked online that there is no way to provide public comment.
Porque estaba enferma.
Because she was sick, she was not able to attend.
Eso fue un gran problema para mí, porque hay muchas personas actualmente que están enfermas, que son ancianas, que tienen disabilities, que no tienen acceso a cable 3 para estar atendiendo estas juntas.
This is an issue because a lot of elderly people, people with disabilities, or sick people do not have Channel 3 and therefore unavailable and they're not able to attend council meetings.
Yo no tengo cable. Yo prefiero ahorrarme ese costo y no tengo cable. Entonces yo no tengo acceso a esas juntas si no vengo aquí a ver y estar presente frente a ustedes.
She does not have cable because she rather save money on that cost. So the only way for her now is to come here in person to see a council meeting.
Ahora yo tengo accesibilidad, tengo un vehículo donde puedo venir aquí,
Now she has a vehicle that she can come here,
pero hay muchas personas que no lo tienen.
but there's a lot of people who do not have it.
Entonces, no es que nuestra ciudad no tenga la habilidad de tener estos medios para proveer esta información a nuestra comunidad,
So it's not like the city doesn't have the means to provide access to the community for these meetings.
es una decisión que ustedes tomaron como ciudad de eliminar esta información para el público.
It's a decision you made as a city to eliminate the access to the public.
Mañana va a haber una junta del Departamento de Planificación
Tomorrow there will be a planning commission meeting
que va a tener acceso por medio de Zoom.
who will have access via Zoom.
¿Cómo es posible que una junta de nuestra ciudad de planificación tenga acceso a la internet por medio de Zoom y nuestro concilio que administra toda nuestra ciudad no tiene esa accesibilidad a nuestra comunidad?
How is it possible that the planning commission meeting has access to Zoom, but city council meeting that oversees the entire city does not have access to Zoom?
Es importante cambiar eso. Hay ciudades no tan lejos de nosotros, la ciudad de San Bernardino, que está en bancarrota y todavía tiene acceso a estos tipos de accesibilidad a nuestra comunidad.
There are a lot of neighboring cities like the city of San Bernardino who's currently going through bankruptcy who has access to this means, but we do not.
Entonces no entiendo una ciudad de nuestro nivel, que somos básicamente el líder de nuestro Inland Empire, que no podemos ofrecer ese tipo de comunicación a nuestras personas de tercera edad, a nuestras personas de disability o a nuestras personas que están enfermas.
So how is it Ontario, as a leader in the Inland Empire community, cannot provide this access to elderly people, people with disabilities, or people who are unable to attend here?
Entonces, hay muchas cosas que no estamos haciendo en nuestra ciudad como transparencia. Y espero que muy pronto esas cosas cambien en nuestra ciudad.
There is a lack of transparency in the city, and she hopes that soon this will change.
Y también en la ciudad de Ontario, somos el 80% latinos. Y también la información no está traducida. Que yo entiendo que no es necesario que se traduzca en español, pero sí tratar de representar a la mayoría de nuestras personas que están viviendo en nuestra ciudad.
The population in the city of Ontario is 80% Latino, and she does not understand why, if it's not being translated into Spanish, she understands that it is not a requirement, but she wishes that it could be translated.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next speaker is Sochi.
Hello, everyone. Wow. So today marks another joyous occasion. We made it here, right? So good evening, everyone, council members, audience, City of Ontario. My name is Sochi Escamilla, and I'm here today to speak on the importance of having equal information for all. For the past few meetings I've been here, I've advocated for seniors, our disabled community members, our veterans, people with limited resources, which included not having television or transportation to these meetings. And I'm happy to say that my Spanish class I took helped me understand what was going on, so that's exciting. But I have asked continuously for support in creating welcoming environments for people to be heard. The last meeting, you showed me the support by directing a lovely lady on who to speak to. She had a public comment and involved a street light that the community needed for safety measures. She brought to you a petition that she had a community sign, and she reached out to you, and I just wanted to know like if that was a standard protocol and how to advocate to get things done. So while standing here, you spoke to her and you directed her to the correct employee to help her out. There was also another gentleman from, I believe, the American Legion, who spoke about having more events for our community to be involved in, specifically, I think it was a parade. And again, on the spot, he was spoken to and directed to the correct person to assist him with his request. So here and now, I'm requesting the same accommodations that my fellow community members received. Will you please point out who I can speak to right now so my advocacy for access to meetings via internet, email, and other forms of communication can be met? I am just asking for the same accommodations that other two community members received, who also advocated for their community.
Remaining.
Sure, there is our city manager. He will direct you to the correct staff member.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mayor. I appreciate it.
Ma'am, if you leave your information with Ms. Sanchez, I'll be sure to call you in the morning.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
All right, that ends our public comments for the evening. And we'll go on to agenda review and announcements, Mr. City Manager.
I don't have anything to add.
All right, great, so we'll move on to our special ceremonies.
Sir, I do apologize, one point. Just to be very clear on on item number 13, there were letters that were sent to council that were made part of the record. City clerk has those letters related to that public hearing. Beyond that, nothing else.
Okay. So we have special ceremonies at this time for 21st Annual Model Colony Awards that the City Council presented 2021 Model Colony Awards for historic preservation. And I'd like to start by introducing our planning commissioners who are here tonight. Our vice chairman is Mr. Jim Willoughby. And Commissioner Nancy Diemeyer, Commissioner Robert Gregorick, Bob, I didn't see, and Commissioner Deandra Lampkin. Anybody else here that I didn't see name on the list here? Is that it? That's everybody who's here from the planning commission. I'd like to thank you, commissioners, for your service to our community. We know that it's a lot the commissioners put in time here to make sure that our community is developed correctly and that nothing goes on that is incorrect for the community. And it's kind of a thankless job. You get a very small reward for your work. So I'd like to thank you. And then I want to hand this all over to our Executive Director of Community Development. Your titles have changed with us over the years, Scott. So, Mr. Scott Murphy, present our award winners, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Since 2005, the National Trust for Historic Preservation has designated May as Preservation Month. And the City of Ontario has had the opportunity to celebrate along with that, with this year's theme being Preserving the Past, Embracing the Future. This year's theme explores the connection between our past and our future. We all know that owning and maintaining the historic structure is a labor of love. Usually takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And as many of our community members will tell you, probably a fairly substantial investment in their wallets. But what we have seen is that time and investment is well worth it. You may remember a few years back, we actually did an analysis that compared the sale price of some of our historic homes with sale prices of new homes down in Ontario Ranch. And on a per square foot basis, our historic homes were equal to, or even in some cases higher than, the price of new homes. So it's pretty remarkable when you put that time and investment into the community, the rewards that you will reap. Tonight it's my pleasure to present our 21st Annual Model Colony Awards. It doesn't seem like it's been 21, but time flies. And it's really an effort to recognize those individuals who put the blood, sweat, and tears into the restoration, the renovation, and ongoing preservation of those historic resources that we have. We have 3 awards for you this evening. We have 2 awards of merit and 1 award for the George Chafee Memorial Award. Our awards of merit are for those properties that do invest a lot of time and effort in maintaining their properties, that you can walk by those homes and just look at that and stop and admire the work that's gone into it. For our George Chafee Memorial Award is for an individual or individuals who have contributed greatly to the historic preservation effort in the city of Ontario. So with that, our first award of merit is for the Dr. Jerome Titus House. This is at 128 East El Morado Court. This is at the southwest corner of Lemon and El Morado and is a contributor to the El Morado Court Historic District. The house was built in 1912. Over the past 10 years, it's gone through a number of ownership changes, the most recent being in 2019. When the current owner acquired the property, they recognized the fact that there was a Mills Act contract on the property, and they took that very seriously and have made a number of improvements to the property to really bring out that property into the forefront. There was a lot of overgrown landscaping that was removed from the front of the home. There was moss that was growing over the stone columns on the porch and on the steps, which has all been removed. They've gone through and repainted the house. You can see from these pictures that a majority of the house is in wood shingle patterns around the entire house, and they've meticulously gone through and replaced those shingles that have been needed. The elements of the house, it's a craftsman home. You can see from the lower left picture the double angle on the side of the home. It has a large wraparound porch and elements that are really indicative of the craftsman style. Here's a great example of all the shingle work, and you can imagine the amount of time and effort it would take to go through and replace those as needed. Another unique feature of the work that's gone on into this is that 38 wood windows throughout the home have been repaired. Not replaced, but repaired. So they went in, they took out or found weights for those windows that were missing the weights. New ropes have been installed, and many of them have been outfitted with new screens, so a huge investment on that part. In addition, windows have been weather stripped to provide additional insulation for the homes, which I'm sure those of you who own older homes know that weather stripping has always been a problem. The home retains all the original wood trim and moldings, the original wood floors. The living room features the original stone fireplace flanked by built-in shelves and ceilings with wood box beams. As you can see from these, all kept in immaculate condition. The kitchen features a vintage electric stove that belonged to the current owner's relative, and the rest of the kitchen has been modestly upgraded to create a functional space with modern appliances. The residence also features an elegant staircase with original wood banister and original steps. The owners have continued to maintain and preserve this historic home and have been shown to be excellent stewards of our historic resource, ensuring that the Dr. Jerome Titus House remains a contributor to the El Morado Court Historic District. Our next award of merit is for a little more modern and And everybody thinks of our historic preservation awards as only being for those that are old. In this case, what we have is one location that's very near and dear to my heart especially, the Starbucks that we have downtown. And what makes this truly unique is that this is an infill development that has occurred recognizing the historical context that it was located on Euclid Avenue. They dealt with a number of design issues. This was in an area that was identified as a 1950s architectural district, which would include modern commercial beauty and new formalism styles of architecture. So how do you take a Starbucks drive-through facility and integrate it into a 1950s downtown? So what the architect has done is very creatively, first of all, came up with this idea of taking the drive-through access off of the rear of the building. You drive down Euclid Avenue, there's no indication that there's a drive-through, except if you happen to see the little sign that says drive-through with the arrow pointing that way. They've taken the architectural elements of this property and carried it through all the way from conception through construction. You can see on the top is the rendering that was provided to us at the very onset of their development, and the bottom is actual picture of what you see out there today. As I mentioned, they took access off the rear of the building. Our current development code wants to respect the historic nature of Euclid Avenue. If you look in our downtown area, there are no access points mid-block. All the access points come off the side streets. And so the architect was very creative in coming up with a design that allowed for Starbucks to maintain their drive-through, but at the same time honor and respect the city's desire to limit that access. Even down to the some of the finer details, the patio enclosure, the tubular steel elements that were put in there are more reflective of that 1950s architectural style. And it does incorporate a lot of modern, I should say, more characteristic elements, but in a modern context. And as a result, the commission felt that it was worthy of an award of merit for their sensitivity to the infill development. Our final award is the George Chafee Memorial Awards, and this year's recipient is Robert Gregory. Bob has been a resident of this community for 38 years. 25 of those years he spent as a planning commissioner, and of those 25, 18 of those years were spent on the Historic Preservation Subcommittee. Bob was an integral part of the city's adoption of our Historic Preservation Ordinance, the establishment of our inventory of historic resources, and assisted in helping the city become a certified local government. And that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you figure our planning commission / historic preservation commission, I believe, is the only one in the state that serves both functions and is a certified local government. Typically, you have a distinction between the planning commission and the historic preservation commission because there's a concern that there may be some inherent conflict. But through Bob's efforts and those of the other members of our commission, they've been able to demonstrate that the two can work in harmony, and the state has recognized that. Bob has, with his background in geology, it gives him a little bit of a unique perspective on relating developments, especially in the context of unreinforced masonry buildings and the impact that those can have. And that knowledge has proved very helpful in the review of some of our historic structures. Through his 25 years of service, continued training and professional background, Mr. Gregory has become a true leader in preservation and has made significant contributions to the preservation of Ontario's historic resources. So at this time, Mr. Mayor, with your permission, what I'd like to do is have each of the recipients come up individually to receive their award. And I believe what we're going to do is I have them down in the front and the council members right behind them. So first of all, for our award of merit, for the Dr. Jerome Titus House. The owners are Charles and Sarah Kuhnlander. Accepting the award will be Sarah Kuhnlander.
Sir, can I tell you something?
We want
So
to,
we read this one was at the church today, basically the same. Plan pictures of your house. And put in the little windows. The guys are together, through rail. We need it. All right. When's the tour? I want to see their house. When's the tour?
Whatever you want.
Comes with dinner, right? It's not a set.
and so our, the second award of merit for the downtown infill Starbucks, accepting will be Hannibal Petrosny.
Thank you very much.
Did he say Hannibal?
Yes.
Is it Hannibal? I got my friend Caesar over here, but never mind.
He's going to- for this one. Thank you. Thank you.
And unfortunately, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Gregorick was called away at the last minute and was unable to make it this evening, so we will invite him back at another time to present him with his thank you.
All right, that's pretty cool. So that concludes our Model Colony Award ceremony for tonight. And these are really great examples of achievement for our community. What a great house, huh? You've seen it many times. You've done a great job. And just, that's a lot of work. I think everybody always appreciates. I have some stories to share with you, so that'll be later. So anyway, I want you to look at the posters. Everybody, we're going to take about a 5-minute break. We're going to begin right back here on this dais at 10 after on the dot. So we're going to take a 5-minute break so people who would like to go and see the posters in the lobby. Check it out and shake everybody's hands. Or not. Don't shake hands. Don't fist. Don't fist. See you out there. So I'll entertain close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the item. I think the residents of the one
Yeah, I think so. So, a motion to approve, second by Mr. Bowman. Any opposition? Seeing none, so ordered. Okay. That's pretty cool. Item number 20.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. This is a public hearing to receive and respond to public comments on the draft 2020 Urban Water Management Plan, draft water shortage contingency plan, an addendum to the 2015 Urban Water Management Plan, and resolutions adopting the 2020 Urban Water Management Plan, water shortage contingency plan, and addendum to the 2015 Urban Water Management Plan. Notice of public hearing has been given, affidavits of compliance are on file, and we have no written communications.
Okay. We'll open the public hearing, and there's no written communications, no blue slips. Anybody here wanted to speak? I'll close the public hearing, entertaining conversation, motion from the council.
I'll make a motion that we approve the item.
Okay, it's moved by Ms. Parada, second by Mr. Bowman. Any opposition? Seeing none, so moved and so ordered. Great. That takes us to staff matters. Mr. Choa.
Nothing other than wishing everybody a happy Father's Day upcoming.
I was gonna say.
But I said it to my dad.
All right, we'll stay in on that side of the room. We'll start with Mr. Valencia. Council matters. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Hold on. We appointments. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I got a couple of special announcements to make. So let's get on with the appointments. Scott, are you gonna handle that, or Darlene, who's gonna handle it?
We certainly can, sir.
So you want me to handle it?
Well, I mean, they.
I don't know, no, I know, but I
They
know
are
the
the mayor's
names. They have all the names. These are the recommendations that we have.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. So, here's what happened. We have commissions and board members, the planning commission, library board, museum board, and Parks and Recs commission. And as people come and go through these, we have openings. And we believe that it's also a great opportunity for people to learn about how their city operates, from the museum to planning. Really intense learning of how the city operates. And so we have some appointments, starting with Miss Daisy Macias is being appointed to Parks and Recreation. Stand up and I know her well enough, I shouldn't bring her to the podium. I don't know if that's cool. Why don't you just kind of come up this way? I'll bring all three of you up, okay? She was previously with the library board and is a longtime resident of Ontario. She attended elementary, middle, and high school in the city. She's currently employed as an account executive of Old Republic Home Warranties and has a very long history. You're not that old, I'm just kidding.
Just kidding, no, I like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, can you just say a couple words, hello?
Sure, my name is Daisy. I just wanted to thank you, council member and the mayor, for allowing me to just grow and continue to help out in the community. And I'm just looking forward to bringing you ideas and stuff to this new position. And I'm gonna miss everyone at the library, but you know, you just gotta keep moving up. Thank you.
All right, well, we're just stay there. Then next we have Guadalupe Anderson, who will be joining the Planning Commission.
Good afternoon. My name is Guadalupe Anderson, Lupe for short. I live in South Ontario near Celebration Park. I've been married for 36 years, have 3 adult children and 2 beautiful granddaughters, and just want something new to contribute to the city, and hopefully my ideas or I can bring things forward to make this a really great city.
Yeah, I'm really thankful that you're able to volunteer to be in this position. I think it's really important that you live in the newer part, actually, of the Ontario Ranch. And it's important to have you on this position so that we can have a well-rounded board of commissioners. So I also have this other stuff here. You served as a long-time volunteer within the community with youth activities and other things. You have a bachelor's degree in nursing from Mount St. Mary's College, and you're a nurse supervisor for the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health. And so we're grateful to have you on board.
Looking forward to it. I appreciate your time.
And I don't see Liz Ritchie here. So Liz Ritchie will be appointed to the library board as one of our trustees. She served as one of the board commissioners to the Parks and Recreation from 2013 to 2017. She's the treasurer of Ontario Youth Activities League. She's also been on various committees with the school district, and she's currently employed with the City of Upland Public Works Department. So we are very happy to have Ms. Ritchie on board too. Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for coming forward and introducing yourself. We have a fireworks take-back event that's coming.
I'm sorry, Mr. City Attorney, do we need to ratify those appointments by the mayor? I'll make a motion that we support the mayor's appointments.
Thanks. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and
Take a vote?
yeah, we're gonna take a electronic vote on that, okay? Want to see it in lights. All right, very good. So, you're officially voted in. Now we're gonna get to our fireworks take-back event. I want to emphasize this important event on Saturday, June 19th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're hosting a fireworks take-back event at Fire Station 3, which is located at 1408 East Francis Street.
Francis Park.
Yeah, it's Francis and Parko, so it's that way of Euclid. And our message is clear. And I think that some folks out there have, at some point, wondered where our message was, but our message is clear. All fireworks are illegal. It's not fine for you to have fireworks in the city. It's not good. But we need the community's help. And so I encourage any resident in the possession of fireworks to voluntarily surrender them at our take-back event. We're not gonna shake you down, check you out, just bring them and drop them off. And this is gonna help safeguard our residents and neighbors. And I don't know about you, but I'm already, I'm closer to the Montclair border, so I wanted to say, but it's them. I don't know who it is really. But I'm already hearing fireworks, and it is disturbing. It's disturbing to me. It's disturbing to our animals. And there are people from all walks of life that these explosions are creating emotional stress that they don't need. We've never been, at least since I've been here, we have not been for many years a firework city. We don't allow them, and we're not allowing them now. And certainly with what we've gone through recently, we're really doubling down on this. So drop-offs can be done anonymously, and I ask the community, everybody to help combat fireworks. All of them are illegal. It's kind of funny for me to say illegal fireworks. They're illegal in this city, no matter what they are in our community. So once again, I'm going to tell you that it's June 19th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Bring your fireworks that you might have anywhere, or you might know someone, say, come on, let's go dump them off and give them to the fire department. No questions asked. Right, Chief? Where is he? No questions asked. Our police, there we go. Okay, so now, here we go back to the other parts of council matters, and I'll move all the way over here to Mr. Blitzy.
Yes, so I received actually a couple of letters, and they were one was from Bob Montgomery. He's the Vice President of Operation, Southern California, Lancy Homes. We had a ribbon cutting at the Shade Tree Recreation Center. I'll just read the letter. It's my pleasure meeting you at the ribbon cutting, and then it goes on to say that he sincerely worked and truly appreciated the collaborative effort of our city and our staff. And basically in this letter, he's going on to say that Lancy and the Shade Tree teams really appreciated one of our employees and wanted to call him out, and his name is Johnny Reitner. And Johnny had actually gone to this development before hours, after hours, and on his day off. So both these letters that were received, and one was from the Vice President and the other one was for planner, go and speak about what the City of Ontario does and how we work and how we operate. And it really is a collaborative effort when these developments happen. And I just give him many kudos, and I'll go ahead and hopefully I'll pass this on to Scott Murphy and he can forward it to Johnny's boss. And then next, going back to transparency, we had a couple of speakers come up and talk about transparency. So after the last meeting, I actually asked the mayor I felt that we're going back in time because during COVID, we were fully accessible, people could access things online. Well, now we cannot. So the only way right now people can access this is if they have Channel 3 and or what I did the other day, I had to come down to City Hall, just because I'm here, and go to the clerk's office, pay $10, and they gave me a thumb drive. So let's think about our community. How many people can't do that? So we need to make sure that this is accessible. But in doing that, when I purchased that thumb drive, I thought to myself, you know, I can actually, how can I solve some of this problem? So I just want to let everybody know out there, you guys can come to my YouTube channel. I will post from now on, if that's what's needed, I will post from now on. I'll buy the thumb drive and I'll post every single city council meeting so that the public can go ahead and view it, download it, do whatever you want with it. Because I truly believe that it needs to be accessible to the people that can't come here. So at the last meeting, Mayor, I did ask you if you could bring back what we had before. So, and you said you take it under personal consideration. Is there any personal consideration as of yet?
Is this an agendized item we're talking about here?
Well, because
you can make your comments, but I can't answer.
okay, then that's fine. Good. Okay, clear. Speaking about on May 4th, let's see, Council Member Wapner, and then it was seconded by Deborah Prada, Councilwoman Prada. She addressed the city manager and the city attorney to go ahead and look at actually bringing back to council the item that would require me, if I run, well, I am running, but if a sitting council member would have to give up their seat in order to run for the mayor's seat. That was a little over a month ago. Is there any reports? Because I sent you guys a letter, both of you. Is there anything to report back to the council?
Mr. Mayor, may I respond?
Sure.
Just only that there is no advice that I'm able to share in public, Mr. Valencia, but happy to share with the council in a confidential setting.
Okay, very well. I'll look forward to that. And then I'd also like to bring to the council, for council consensus, apparently we don't have a code of ethics in Ontario. And since, I would like to see if my colleagues here could direct the city attorney and city manager to bring back and for us to look at and bring back a code of ethics. And that's all.
Whoa. Don't get in the conversation. The city attorney can answer that, or when it's your turn to speak, you might address a similar issue. That's all. So, well, folks, here we go. Kind of funny. We're in silly season early. Silly season is when campaigns kick off and all kinds of crazy stuff comes up. And then usually, you know, you go through about 3 years of peace, and then a year out, and silly season really takes off. Well, we're taking off early this go round. This is silly season. This is campaigning and politics. And that's what you're seeing going on at our council meetings now. There's obviously been some challenges already stated in public, and that's okay. But I prefer to keep the meeting businesslike and with decorum, and I'll try my best to do that. So when we see public speakers coming here and making statements about the church and people in the community, understand this is silly season. This is all about politics. It's not about, to me, anything else. And we're just gonna have to endure it for a while as we walk through the process. In basketball, when there's a team that's feeling like they're probably about to lose a game, they run into what's called a full court press. And they start pressing the entire court, and that's really what this silly season is full court press. And I just want to tell you that I can take the shots. They're getting directed at me, here, on social media, everywhere else, and I can take the shots. I don't mind being the mayor of Ontario. You're like the quarterback of a football team. You get all the glory and you get all the blame. And the reality is I've always tried to be the team leader of a great team with 25 and more years of wins under our belt. And I'm going to continue to operate with dignity and respect. When people come forward and they want to pull theater, I guess we're just going to have to let them as we're going through silly season. But there is one thing that I just cannot abide. And I detest when somebody takes shots at people who are good people, honest people, respectable people, and for political reasons, pull out the machete and decide to start chopping them up for political reasons. And especially in this day and age, it really gets me because social media is a very strange platform. You have things that can be said, and we know that these big tech people can shut you up. They can censor you. They can actually delete what you're saying or delete the personality. That's the power they have. And the news, they have that power today because we've somehow lost freedom of speech. I'm all about freedom of speech. But we need to be honest and fair. So when I see a post on social media that is accusing me of not only being insensitive towards people, but that I'm somehow promoting a promiscuous or aberrant lifestyle, and it's being levied on a good, honest, respectable person for political reasons, I'm sorry, but I start to get a little angry. Because I'm not a racist, and I'm not a religious bigot, and I have no ability to be discriminatory about people. And I'm nobody's judge. I don't judge people. I think I'm pretty fair, maybe with most people, unless they are not fair with me. And I don't mind exchanging thought in a peaceful manner. But when I read stuff about how just last week Congresswoman Norma Torres was photographed with this person in a group photo, Mr. Mayor, did you inform the Congresswoman? Is that, well, first off, is that my, I don't know what her agenda is. And is it my job? But I'll tell you what, the person that they're talking about, they say such things as, I replaced a past commissioner with this gentleman. And they give reasons that are not true. They talk about transparency. The author talks about transparency. And it says that the person was involved in something that is questionable by this guy who actually calls himself a religious conservative. So in other words, a religious bigot. I'm enraged. I'm enraged that someone would actually call out a person of color and a person whose lifestyle is none of my concern. I don't ask anybody out there, are you this, are you that, are you that? In this day and age, why would anybody ask anybody about their personal life and sexual preferences or anything else? Why? I don't do that. And then to suggest that I didn't do the proper research? So in other words, an African-American man comes up and we find him to be qualified to be in a position, and then I'm supposed to research him? Why? Because of his color? For heaven's sakes? Not on my life, not on your life. I'm not doing that kind of stuff, and I don't support anybody who does that kind of stuff. I never have, I never will. It's racist. And it's wrong. And I'm not going to continue to read this nonsense, but just continue to try to say that, my religious beliefs will not allow me to, da-da-da-da. Your religious beliefs, let me tell you something, I'm proud to say I'm a Christian. And the Jesus I know told me to love people unconditionally.
Amen.
And no other reason. And then, to top it all off, I thought it was bad enough as it was. So the accusation is that there was a person who was taken off a planning commission, and then I replaced him with this seedy person, which is a lie, an absolute lie. Person I replaced him with is an outstanding person who spends countless hours donating time, volunteering to do things that many people would never do, looked after thousands of people, and made sure that they were fed and had everything else they needed during the COVID year. I could call on him in a second and he would be after some people out there got food, because I would call him and say, this person needs food, and he would direct his staff to take food to them. But for heaven's sakes, he's black. Really? So then, I read this later on, forwarded by my own council member. Sir, for your information, I voted no on this guy, and then they removed Fausto Reyes, who was my commissioner. Folks, here's the issue. These people on the dais do not have commissioners. Everybody who's appointed, as you saw tonight, sits at the pleasure of the mayor. They can recommend somebody, but it ain't theirs. And the problem that I had was that there was an issue, and there was a claim of my guy voted no on that. When as soon as I hear those words, my guy, on any of our commissions or positions, they're very close to done, because you, the people of Ontario, own everybody. Me, here, everybody. We don't own it. The public owns it, and they sit at the pleasure of the mayor, not a single council member. That's who. So when I have a council member forwarding or posting or liking this stuff, liking it, this racist, discriminatory, religious bigotry, I lose my mind to a little bit. And you know, I'm not sure what the repercussions of my diatribe and speech tonight will be, but I gotta tell you, I don't like it, and I'm gonna say it. I'm hurt. I'm hurt for people out there who are alternative lifestyles, or gay, or what have you, who are hurt by this kind of stuff in this day and age. Hurt. You can't forward, like, or repost this stuff. To me, the only thing you do is condemn it. And I condemn it right here. I condemn this stuff. And I'm gonna point him out to you folks who are here. It's that guy right there. They're talking about a very good man. A very good man. And I'll stand up with him in any church, anywhere, anytime. He's a good guy. DeAndre Lampkin, the Lampkin Foundation. Falsely accused of being, he went to a school, and the mayor should have warned them of what? That he's somehow a sexual predator and a child molester? That's the implication of this nonsense that gets spread out there. And I've had it. And when we get accused of not streaming a meeting, and then nothing is said about this, I don't think so. I'm going to just grab my composure. Happy Father's Day coming up. I want to also ask council. Sorry. I had another thing on my mind and it's slipping my mind. I want to ask the council if we could reconsider our summer programs because we made a lot of decisions based upon COVID rules that are no longer in existence. And I think that we have many things that we can do in a different way because the country is open and they were restrictive and maybe currently no longer necessary. So if I could get council consensus, a nod, that I speak to the city manager about adjusting some of these programs.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Excuse me, just in response to Mr. Valencia's, I have no idea what he's talking about. He mentions that I made a motion that was seconded by Debbie Prada. There's never any motion nor a second, so I'm not quite sure what he's talking about. I talked about the idea of maybe bringing something back, but nothing, no action was ever taken, which is why the city attorney can't really answer the question, because nothing was ever brought before him. Second of all, as far as Mr. Valencia wanted to know why we don't have a code of ethics or where it is, I was there when it was handed to him, so he knows exactly what he's talking about. He had it in his hands. Going on though. The mayor mentioned some things that were going on social media, and it's real easy for people to hide behind social media. But right now, and by the way, I'm not taking this as a political kind of issue. To me, it's a very emotional, compassionate issue. There's a Facebook site that's frequented by haters. Basically, it's a hater Facebook site. All you do is hate everything. And unfortunately, Ruben Valencia thrives in places like that. And this is people of like minds, they get attention, and they like and support Ruben, so Ruben likes to hang out over there. As the mayor described, there was a series of posts made by racist, bigoted, homophobes, criticizing the mayor, criticizing, I hate to call you out, DeAndre, but again, DeAndre Lampkin, based on the color of his skin and his sexual preference. Completely intolerable. I don't do Facebook. These things were brought to my attention by folks in our community, not my community, our community. I saw friends of mine that were extremely offended by what occurred. We have friends here or family within the city structure that were severely offended by what occurred. It's tough because these are all friends of mine, and there's no reason, and we heard one of the haters earlier tonight. You probably remember this lady came up here and said that, that you can't have, children are in danger because there's a gay man in the community. Talk about ignorance, it's ignorance. So we have a series of Facebook posts that are there, and apparently Mr. Valencia views these, and I'm just telling you, I don't have to repeat everything that's in there, but it's pure hate. So any one of us, including Mr. Valencia, had choices to make. Either they could condemn it, as the mayor did, just let it go, because we can't control people's feelings. They're in the community, there's a lot of ignorant people out there, and they can do what they want to do. Or the third option is you can repost it, encourage it, like it, accept it. Wrong. That's just plain wrong. Mr. Valencia was elected to office. He was entrusted with this office. His job is to represent every single individual in our community, no matter what color their skin, no matter what their sexual preference, no matter what race, no matter ethnicity. All of us are elected to represent every single person. And to select someone, as the mayor said in his post that he posted himself, I voted no on that guy. That guy. That's pitiful, based on his race and his sexual preference. All of us up here have to answer to a higher duty. Our city has been here over 130 years. During that time, we've always prided ourselves in being a community of diversity and embracing that diversity, no matter what background you come from. We've never had any accusations of racism, bigotry, anything else aimed at the city council nor at the city itself. We've always been proud of our city and the inclusiveness that we have, and this places a cloud over the city council as well as the city of Ontario. I'm not going to allow Ruben Valencia or any of the haters on that website to represent our city for anything other than it is, and that's a city that treasures each and every person in the city. So now we have to live with this cloud. This is the problem. When you have a member of the city council express things like Mr. Valencia did, what message are we sending to our community? Are we sending a message to the community that this city council are racist? They're intolerant? I don't want that message to go out. Certainly, I personally do not agree with what was going on. What message do we send to our employees? No matter what race, sexual preference, anything else, are we telling our employees that this council is indifferent to them, that they don't mean anything, that it's just a man, it's just a woman, that guy, that gal? We don't refer to employees in the city that way, nor do we refer to commissioners that we've appointed that way. What about the business community? What happens to economic development? What happens if one of the folks that do business in our city are offended by this, which I'm sure they would be? And you don't have to be gay to be offended about a gay comment. I'm certainly offended by that. You don't have to be black to be offended by a racist comment. We all hate that. So, you know, I don't know how far-reaching the impact is this going to go. I also wonder, so I have to talk to the city attorney about what legal liability we might assume as a representative of the city for Mr. Valencia to go out there and exhibit his racism and his bigotry and his homophobia. How do we know that his racist, bigger, whatever you want to call it, has an impact on any of the decisions or votes that he's made here? Don't know. But actually, we do know. We know that, at least in the vote of a planning commissioner, it did impact it. And I don't think, Mr. City Attorney, that we can vote on somebody based on their race or their sexual preference or anything else. At least that's my understanding. You're talking about protected class. I'm also concerned about, there's potential litigation out there and everything else. And if one of the issues happens to be race or sexual preference or ethnicity or culture, and we now have pretty much a self-proclaimed racist, bigot, homophobe, I don't know what impact that's going to have to any of the city business. So finally, what I want to say is this, and yeah, I'm sure it's difficult, Mr. Valencia, to listen to this, but this is you. This is you. You posted that. You have to claim ownership of it. I have not heard, and I noticed someone told me you took the post down, but I've never heard an apology from you to this community, nor to the people that you've heard. No apology, because you're not worthy of making an apology. I've never heard of a personal apology. I've never heard of a public apology. And I certainly think this community, this city deserves to hear from you your apology for all the harm and hurt that you caused this entire community. I love this city. As I stated, the city is 130 years old. And we've all taken good care of the city. Never, ever, ever have I seen anything like this from anybody sitting on this dais. We've had, you name it, you watched this council for many, many years, and we've had them from all different types. Never, ever have we found someone like this that has absolutely no boundaries. I mean, whatever he needs to do to get power, to run for office forever, no boundaries at all. No matter how many people are hurt, no matter what damage is done, as long as he gets the votes. Well, I know our community pretty well, and I'll tell you, other than the haters on that website, I can't imagine anybody in this community can support a racist, bigot, homophobe, or anything else you want to call it. It's just intolerable, it's not acceptable, and again, on behalf of the community, I have to demand that there be an apology made to the City of Ontario, to the individuals that were inflicted by this, and frankly, to your council colleagues, because now we're going to have to bear the impact of basically your ignorance out there. That's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Bowman?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Ms. Prada?
I've been taken aback by all of this, and I was really set back too tonight with the speaker that came forward tonight, and I just want to let everybody know, and I get emotional and stuff like this, but I honor and respect everybody in this town, and I don't care what race, religion, gender, or sexual orientation that you have. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your commitment to the city. I love working with you. You all make it a wonderful place to be at, and I am so sorry that all this is going on. So you know that you have my support, and we'll just take it from there, so thank you.
Well, now that I'm back to myself again, I'd like to tell you that we appreciate your interest. Thank you for participating in our meeting. Our next regularly scheduled meeting will be held Tuesday, July 6th, 2021, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for attending.